I just got a 10,000 pound electric tractor shipped to me straight from China. That's me.
That's the big boy.
That's my new container, which was its own logistical nightmare to get here. And this is my new toy. Right off the bat, my dad and I started checking it out. I hadn't seen it since my last trip to China to inspect the assembly line, and it was still only half completed back then. You can see some of our smaller machines in the back of the container there. All of these are articulating wheel loaders, a type of tractor used for material handling and lots of other tasks like drilling, digging, lifting, snow plowing, and 1,001 other uses. But this one, our new Nesher L3000, is my biggest one yet. It's got a 3,000 pound lifting capacity. Here it's actually lifting a wooden crate that has a mini excavator inside of it. Here we've got it carrying a golf cart that you'll see more of in an upcoming video. And here it's lifting a shipping container to move it around the property. So basically it's powerful enough to lift just about anything you can reasonably throw at it. But it's also kind of huge and probably bigger than a lot of people want or need for their property. So that's not the only new toy I want to show you guys in this video, because I also got my new Nesher L2500 in as well. It's only slightly lower capacity than the L3000 with its 2,500 pound lift capacity, but it's much lighter at around 6,400 pounds. So it's a more compact, easier to operate machine that still has a pretty darn impressive lift capacity. Plus, both of these have enclosed cabs and heaters, with air conditioning as an option on the L3000 as well. These help round out the lineup in addition to the compact L880 and the larger but still pretty small and easy to operate L1400 electric loaders. I know I've showed you guys those two smaller machines on my channel here a few times, and a lot of folks have asked if there was an option for an enclosed cab or a heater, especially folks in the north. We're working on a potential enclosed cab option for the L1400, but these bigger machines here answer that call for a full enclosure. And just like the smaller machines, they can use all of the same style of attachments, just bigger versions. And that's really one of the biggest advantages of these machines, is just how versatile they are. Changing attachments is really easy with the quick hitch, so you can stay in the operator's seat and simply roll up to different attachments like your bucket or your pallet forks and swap them out. It's great for making everyday work more convenient, and you don't have to keep climbing up and down the ladder to get in and out of the machine each time. Of course, if you're working with attachments that have an auxiliary hydraulic function, like an auger or grapple or the digger here, you do have to get out and manually connect the extra hydraulic hoses, but it's worth it for just how much extra power that adds to the machine. You don't need a separate excavator, for example, because your loader can perform excavator duties with just a simple attachment. On our larger machines here, you can dig down around 6 feet, while on our smaller machines, you can dig down to around 3.5 feet. Which is usually enough for most residential and homesteading type uses, such as laying pipe or planting trees. These types of versatile machines are just good for 1,001 uses, things we never expected to do with them. Here my dad and I ended up using the L2500 like a freight elevator to get an old couch up into the mezzanine, and it worked great thanks to the lift height of over 10 feet. From there it was just a matter of sliding it off the pallet and we were golden. And it's not just the lift height or the lift capacity that helps, but also the sheer pulling power of these machines. We had a tree that was blown over in the last hurricane but was still alive and laying on its side. My dad had been slowly lifting it back up with a car jack and 8x8s, but getting past 45 degrees wasn't really possible that way. Then came the L3000 to the rescue. With just a tiny press of the accelerator, that tree was standing up straight. I couldn't even notice any resistance. It would have just ripped it right out of the ground if I wanted it to. That's what you get with a 10,000 plus pound tractor and serious pulling power. But even the 6,400 pound L2500 has some real power to it. With another hurricane tree related project, we had to cut out a trunk that had fallen down into the pond and had become a navigation hazard. I wouldn't recommend running your electric chainsaw like this very long, but we managed to cut it out and then dragged it across the pond with the help of our UTV, which you might be noticing a pattern here is also electric. From there, the L2500 handled that trunk like it was a matchstick. It's just impressive what these things can do without protesting even a bit. I also wanted to share a few updates on Nesher that I'm pretty proud of. First of all, we're expanding internationally and at a pretty good clip. We've already got our next Canada dealer operating in Quebec, serving pretty much all of Eastern Canada, though they can also ship out to Western Canada too. You can find them on nesherequipment.ca and reach out to them if you want prices or freight quotes. We're also continuing to add new equipment and upgrades to our machines, and one of the most recent is our new comfort suspension seat that we now offer on our smaller L880 and L1400 machines, and which makes them a lot nicer to use on bumpy terrain, plus has more adjustability built in than the stock seat. In fact, the L880 and L1400 are definitely our most popular machines, and we have them operating in over 30 states in the US already, so I'm pretty proud about that. There are a lot of folks using them for all sorts of things. We've got farmers and ranchers using them, they're in gardens, and they're at construction sites, and in people's backyards, and front yards, and side yards, and at their businesses, and just about everywhere. So it's been really cool to see how Nesher operators are using their machines. Now, I've talked a good bit about the fact that these are electric machines, but I haven't talked about why they're electric machines, or rather, why we prefer to work with electric machines and not the typical diesel tractors or diesel loaders. And there are a few reasons. I'm just going to go through them quickly. First of all, a big reason is just maintenance. You know, diesel tractors, they spend a lot of time down. There's a lot more maintenance that you have to do with them, and with electric, it's basically like a power drill. You know, it's the same basic mechanism as your electric drill, but just scaled up. You know, it's a battery, it's a motor, and it's a speed controller. That's basically it. Now, the hydraulics and everything, yeah, you do need to, check your oil, occasionally change it, that sort of thing. You do need to do some greasing on the joints. There is not no maintenance here, but all of the maintenance is just associated with the other mechanical parts. It's not the powertrain, which generally is the worst part of dealing with any vehicle. So with electric, it's just so much easier to maintain. Like I said, it's like maintaining your DeWalt power drill. Next, there's the sound. It's just a lot more comfortable to work with because you're not trying to talk over an engine when you're working with other people around you. In fact, I'm going to give you 30 seconds of unedited audio here so you can compare the sound of my footsteps to the sound of the machine operating. So yeah, crazy, right? Or when you're working by yourself, it's just a lot more peaceful. You know, you can work around animals without scaring them. It's just a much nicer experience. Not to mention that you don't have the smell of exhaust and that sort of thing. And that sort of brings me to the third reason, which is the health aspect. You know, for someone who uses these machines often, you're spending several hours a day in them, if you have a diesel tailpipe right by your face, it's only a few feet away, you're breathing that stuff in every day, and it's really, really bad for you. That stuff is carcinogenic, and it's just, a toxin that you don't need to be breathing in. We have enough toxins around us to begin with. So from a health and safety aspect, we just feel that electric is a lot safer. And lastly, there are the environmental implications. Now, I put this one last, not because it's not important, but because for most people, it's not their main differentiator. It is important to make these decisions based on the environment around us. We're working in the land. We're stewards of this land. We were given this land and we need to maintain it. And so I do think it's important to be working with machinery that's not polluting, that's not creating emissions for greenhouse gases, that's not leaving big puddles of oil everywhere, that sort of thing. So there are a lot of advantages to going electric, from the comfort to the cost of charging for pennies, to the safety, to the maintenance. For us, it's just the entire package. And it's not that diesel machines don't work. They absolutely do. We've been using them for decades, It's fine technology, but it's older technology, and now we have something better. That's all I'll say about that. Now, I know there are going to be a ton of questions, so I'm going to try to preemptively answer the ones I can imagine will pop up in the comments. First, how long do the batteries last? Both machines are rated for around 6 hours of use on a charge, depending how you're using them, more if you go easy or less if you're working really hard. These aren't intended for a full day sort of road crew usage. They're meant for landowners and folks who generally have specific projects, the kind of things where you wouldn't need to run it for over 6 hours at a time. The L2500 has a 25 kilowatt-hour AGM battery, and the L3000 has a 40 kilowatt-hour AGM battery. Charging can be done overnight from a typical 120 volt outlet, and you don't need a special EV charger. The L3000 actually has 2 chargers, so it can fill that big battery faster from a pair of residential outlets. Now for pricing, the pricing does tend to change a bit depending on whatever the current state of tariffs are, so I can't give you an exact number, but there are exact numbers at any time available online at NesherEquipment.com, and I can also tell you that the price will be a fraction of that of electric machines from those like Heavy or other electric equipment makers, though good luck getting those other companies to actually tell you a price without jumping several hours down their sales funnel first. For service and support, the machines are backed by warranty, and there is a US-based warehouse fully stocked with repair and replacement parts to make sure anything needed can be sent out in just a day or two. So while the machines are built in our factory in China to our own custom designs and with our own specific innovations, the support is fully American. In terms of maintenance, it's pretty much just keeping up with greasing the machine every 10 hours or so of use and occasionally checking your hydraulic level. There's just not really any engine maintenance, which is the bulk of maintenance on a diesel loader. There are a pile of attachments available, basically all of the same attachments as for the L880 and the L1400, but no, they do not fit the skid steer quick attachments that you might already have for your Bobcat, as it is a different interface. If there are any other questions that I didn't answer that you still have, feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll try to address everything. Now, if you've never seen my videos before, you might be wondering what is Nesher. Maybe you've never heard of the company before. So let me give you just a brief background here. This is a company that was started by me and my father together to bring affordable electric construction equipment, electric earth-moving equipment to the US to people who need it most. You know, for a long time I've been interested in electric vehicles, and over the years I've expanded into all sorts of different vehicles. And one thing that we discovered that my parents would need on their property here, once they expanded into some acreage, was some earth-moving equipment to manage the land. And my dad didn't really want to get an old diesel tractor on Marketplace or, Craigslist. And so I started looking into electric options, and there just weren't any in the US. So I worked with some manufacturers, I worked on the designs, and over the last few years, we've developed some really awesome machines. You might have seen in some of my other videos, the Nesher L880 and L1400. Those are two of our first machines that are smaller, still great machines. 1,400 pounds is certainly still some good lift capacity, but there were a lot of people that were asking, could we build something bigger? Could we build something with, more lift capacity, 2,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds? Could we do an enclosed cab, that sort of thing? And so over the last few years, we've worked on developing new models, bigger, more powerful, and I am super excited that we've got these new, larger capacity machines because they really expand the lineup and they answer needs of different types of people. We still mostly use our 880s and 1400s for our own tasks around the property here, but having the ability to pull out a bigger machine when you occasionally need it is a big saver in many situations. I'm not sure if we would have been able to right fallen trees or do some of the other things we've been able to do without some of these bigger machines. We are also going to be opening up multiple international distributorships. By the time this video goes live, I think the Canadian dealer will already be active. So make sure you check that out. We're working with some dealers in a few other countries as well. So in addition to being in, I want to say, last I checked, maybe 35 states in the US so far and growing. We're now expanding to several different countries as the company grows. So I am just super excited for this next step in our growth. I'm really proud of what my dad and I have built. We've expanded the team. We've got several folks in the team now. Past just when we started, it was my father and I. So it's just something that we're really proud of ourselves, and we're really excited to be able to share with you guys. So I hope you guys appreciate it. If you never get the chance to use the machines, I hope you enjoy the videos. And if you do get a chance to use one of these machines, then I think you're going to have an incredible experience because the feedback we've gotten from our Nesher owners all over the country has just been incredible so far. It's really fun to get pictures and videos back from the folks that are using these things every day and see what they get up to with them. So in a nutshell, that's basically what Nesher is. Alright, now it is time for my favorite part of all of my videos here on my channel, the eBikes for Good giveaway. This is a program I started to give free electric bikes out to people who need them, people who a new form of transportation is going to drastically improve their life, give them the ability to get to work, to get to medical visits, to visit their friends and family, or just get outside and get some much needed fitness back in their life. I started this program a few years ago, and it has been an incredibly fun way to help people out, and thanks to the generosity of many of the different electric bicycle companies that I work with, we've been able to get dozens of e-bikes out there. Now, if you are someone who an e-bike could drastically improve your life, you don't have another way to get around, and an e-bike would really pick things up for you, then what I want you to do is go over to my website, EbikeSchool.com/ebikesforgood. There's a form there you can fill out to let me know your story and why an e-bike would really change things in your life for you. There's nothing you need to sign up for. There's no credit card needed. You don't have to buy anything. It is just a simple web form. Let me know your situation. And among the deserving entrants, I will do a random drawing, so one person will be winning a free e-bike. Now let me tell you about the e-bike we're giving away this time. A huge thank you to Angway for letting me give away their Angway L20 2.0 folding electric bike. I've spent some good saddle time on this bike, and it is a wonderful, compact, folding fat tire bike that is great for a lot of different types of uses, from normal everyday commuting on streets, or even going a bit off-road thanks to those 3-inch fat tires and the front suspension. It does come in several colors, though if you're man enough like me, you can pull off the pink one too. I love that it is easy to fold, so if you do need to store it somewhere compact, or you want to fit it in your vehicle if you have one, that's a great option. It's also quite powerful with a 750 watt motor rated for just over 1100 watts of peak power and a top speed of up to 28 miles per hour. You get a color LCD screen, a 7-speed transmission, disc brakes, built-in LED lighting, fenders, rear rack, and basically everything you could want in a simple, easy-to-use folding bike. It's also surprisingly affordable at $699 right now with the current sale, so if you're not someone with a financial hardship, then this might be a good one for you to look at anyway. But since the purpose of this giveaway is for those of you who a bike like this is still not within your reach, then stay tuned. So if you are someone who a new e-bike could drastically improve your life, but it is just outside of your budget to be able to buy one, then remember, I want you to go over to EbikeSchool.com/ebikesforgood, fill out the form, nothing to pay for. I'm just trying to give free e-bikes to people who they can benefit. And now to announce the winner of the eBikes for Good giveaway from my last video, the randomly selected deserving entrant is Dale F. So congratulations, I am super excited to get that e-bike out to you. We've done this so many times before, and it is awesome hearing from people when they first get their e-bike and it really picks up something in their life for them and gives them that transportation or that independence or that fitness that they really needed. Alright, last but not least, before we go, it is time to announce the winner of the book giveaway from my last video. The randomly selected commenter is User McGiver. So congratulations, just let me know which one of my books you'd like. You can choose from DIY Lithium Batteries, DIY Solar Power, The Ultimate Do-It-Yourself E-Bike Guide, or my latest book, The Electric Bike Manifesto. And anybody else who wants a chance to win one of my books for free, all you gotta do is put a comment down below this video. You can say anything you'd like, and hopefully you will be the randomly selected commenter at the end of my next video. If you don't want to wait that long to hopefully win a free copy of one of my books, you can always find them on Amazon. Alright, thanks for watching everybody. I'll see you here next time.
Thanks for watching Bike School.